You guys checked out that Paper Mario soundtrack?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh, have we?
Ooh.
The answer is yes. I don't know why everybody's being so weird about this.
The DiscoCactus crew warned me before recording. There was going to be yelling. Like the waveform it generates, this episode has peaks, valleys, and a special sort of organized chaos that you can only get from everyone's favorite band of classically trained weirdos. Our launchpad was their new Streets of Rage cover. But first, introductions. This is Stephen Kelly, and thanks for joining us for an evening at the Roost.
I'm Ben Wallace. I'm the keyboard player and arranger/composer for DiscoCactus.
My name is Doug Perry, and I play vibes and other percussion.
I'm Mateus Garcia Souza, or Math Effect, and I play violin and or electric violin with DiscoCactus.
I'm Sam Babinski. I play electric bass and upright double bass.
I am Pete Babinski. I play guitar and occasionally clarinet.
My name is Lauren Travi, and I play iwi, flute, and sing with DiscoCactus.
So it started out as an idea for a video, but the track is all Pete. The actual music itself was arranged by Pete.
Which is a rarity because this is the first time I've ever arranged something specifically for the band. We've played one or two of my arrangements before, but they were for something else, and we just played them after the fact. This is the first time I actually wrote something for the group.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it turns out it was better than everything any of us have ever done. So
Yeah, it all kind of happened at the same time, actually. Because we had seen our friend Ian Lucky's video on Facebook. So like that select your character meme was flying around in the spring.
Yeah.
And our friend Ian, he did 130 costume changes. I counted. It was insane how much effort he put into it. It was so funny. So I was sending that to everybody, all my friends, oh my god, you got to see this thing. And then I don't know if it was me or Doug who were saying wouldn't it be funny if we did a video
I think
like
we just
that?
started talking about hypothetical
Yeah.
costumes. Oh yeah, what if I did one of that?
Yeah, I do my costume. And then Pete was working on. He had just started it because Streets of Rage 4 had just come out around that time, and he was totally into the music. And
Pete and I were crushing on that game real hard.
Yeah. I had a
And-
very intense weekend with Streets of Rage 4, and I haven't seen them since.
But yeah, so we were like, maybe we can do a video with some fighting music as the track. Maybe we can do one of these choose your character videos. And we were like, hey Pete, what about that arrangement you're working on?
Yeah.
So we basically commandeered it.
So, the arrangement is fantastic, and before I move away from the video, my personal favorite part of it is the fact that I got so caught up in watching all the costume changes to the character select, that I kind of didn't realize that the song ended by the time I got to choose my characters. I didn't actually get to play the game.
Who did you pick, by the way?
I did pick Doug. Everyone else really.
No one's picked Doug yet.
Yeah, no problem. So tell us about making the dang song.
Yeah, I decided to include tracks from every single game instead of just doing the one.
Are you longtime Streets of Rage fan?
Oh yeah, that was one of the first games I ever played. Was
Really?
Yeah, we had many a day. Sam and I and our older brother Max playing Streets of Rage on the Genesis. The Genesis 6-pack.
Oh, wow.
Which I still
cool.
have.
Yeah, my version was playing that on the Mega Drive.
Yeah.
Just what we call the Genesis in
Yeah.
Brazil.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course.
Everywhere else
That's
except the
amazing.
US.
Yeah, I'd never had a Genesis growing up. And
Dang.
I was like a generation behind until like the Xbox 360 came out.
Wow.
But Brian and I went and sort of delved back into all the consoles that we missed the first time around.
Mhm.
Even so, we only had this tiny handful of physical Genesis cartridges. But it was. Did you guys ever play the Genesis collection that had like a whole bunch of old games stuffed into a disc?
Oh yeah, I had that on I was on 360.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, I had it on PS2, and then for some reason I bought a PSP and also got it on PSP.
Yeah.
So that's my story.
Nice.
But that's where I first played Streets of Rage and Golden Axe and all those.
Oh
things.
yeah.
Golden
That's another
Axe.
Bob Vinsky
Golden Axe is
classic
fun.
that we
Yeah, it
played a lot
sure is.
when we went
Yeah.
to visit
Mhm.
Pete in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Golden Axe delights me just for its sheer and pure stupidity. It makes me smile every
Oh
time.
god, yeah.
It's so great. Actually, I to go down the Golden Axe path a little bit. So we only played the first one growing up. I ended up coming across the second and third ones.
Mhm.
Well, I haven't played the third in I don't even know how long, but
Yeah.
I have the second one. I have the first one. I didn't realize, and Ben discovered this with me.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, we went to a bar in Brooklyn that has a little arcade section in the back,
Mhm.
and they had a game called Golden Axe: The Return of Death Adder, which was an arcade-only sequel to the
Yes.
first Golden Axe, and it rocks. It's
That was
so
awesome.
cool. You ride on like giant praying mantises, and they have like turrets that you can put on them. It's wild, and
Whoa.
Dang.
especially
Oh, it's
compared to the Genesis ones, which are they're great, but they're just like your usual hack and slash kind of thing. And
Yep.
this was
Yep.
was a little more involved. And Ben and I don't remember how much money we spent, but we spent a lot of money
Yeah.
to beat it.
Yeah, but we're
I think we
homeless now.
spent like $5 or $6 between us beating it the first
Yeah.
time.
For
Yeah.
the briefest of seconds, I thought you were going to say you put a lot of money together to buy the arcade cabinet, which I thought was a little extreme, but would have been a cool story.
Not for
wouldn't it have?
not for a small apartment in Brooklyn, but
Exactly. Yeah, it's just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, not as cool.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, I've got this great arcade cabinet now. It takes up half my kitchen.
Yeah. I sleep on it now.
Yeah.
But you can't put a turret on a praying mantis, so let's count our blessings, everyone. So I have noticed if you pull up DiscoCactus VGM.bandcamp.com, I almost pronounced that right. Streets of Rage 4 is there. You've got, of course, the Wild Side Beastar's main theme, and that's it.
Right.
Are you guys going to be adding more stuff to your Bandcamp page now?
Absolutely.
No, this is the
not.
end of it.
Disco
Yeah.
Cactus is
All my
over.
interview questions.
we were looking at the Bandcamp and we were like, 2 is a good number. And
Feeling that.
that's where we're gonna leave it.
It's hard to it's hard to imagine getting more than 300 views on YouTube, so we really wanted to just
Yeah.
go out while we were on top.
Yeah.
It's true, and you don't know any other songs, do you? So
Yeah.
that's really the end of it.
Come on, lucky number 2. Everybody knows that.
But yes, we do have more plans.
Yeah.
we were should I talk about our plans that went under as a result of the dark times we currently
We can leave
find
some
ourselves in?
information out. But...
Yeah, we had big plans that are now postponed plans because
as most
like
plans are these days.
there was a chance that we might still have been able to pull our big project together, but it was too risky, too much, and we were like, we'll feel better about it next year. We were planning on like doing like fundraising and stuff for it, so we're putting that on pause. But in the meantime, we're shooting to try to put out a track and a video once a month if we can. It gets tricky because we all we're juggling multiple part-time jobs.
It gets tricky because we can't.
but yeah, it was we all like needed some time, I think, to digest our like new lifestyles like while we're dealing with the pandemic. So like things were pretty quiet with us for a while, and it kind of but it was good. Like we were talking about this recently. Like I think we needed that time to sort of digest and mourn what was lost, this year, because we had a lot of gigs and stuff we were gonna do this year. They all went under.
Yeah.
So the Streets of Rage
I know.
thing, like that was us sort of like doing a trial run of like, all right, can we put something together in a month? Like, let's see if we can make a schedule and put together this track. And
Yeah.
so we got plans, so hopefully we'll stick to them, but you never know, like what curveballs life is going to throw away. But we're very excited about our next project, which Ben is arranging, and it's going to be in the vein of our MagFest, a huge chunk of our MagFest set. So I'm super pumped about it.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with a Ben arrangement. I can't wait to hear that.
Oh no, you can't go right either.
You can either
Yeah, it's sort of it's always sort of a gray area.
It's
it's in that weird area between right and wrong. It's its own third axis of morality.
I thought you were gonna say that gray area between good and bad.
Good and
What we're
evil.
saying, what we're saying is Ben is the Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does sow chaos, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's kind of his thing.
It's either incredibly funny or incredibly difficult, and more often than not, like both.
Yeah, Ben is definitely chaotic evil, possibly chaotic evil.
Yeah.
Well, like I said with Golden X, just the pure silliness of this video was nice to see. So I'm glad to see you guys around here and there. So, what kinds of creative projects are keeping you guys busy today, or are you focused, more on making sure you find money and food?
I guess we should go around the room because we're all in different scenarios. So at first I had a real gut punch when everything got canceled in March and April, because my day job is being a church musician and singer and organist, and Easter is one of the most prolific times of year for a singer to earn money, and everything was canceled. So I ended up getting a gig to sing at a church that was doing a live stream situation, but I lost $1,500 in one day. Everything got canceled right on top of each other, and I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? And surprisingly, a lot of video game soundtrack recording work has come through for me this year, which is a really nice surprise. And I don't even really think it's related to COVID. I think it just happened to line up this way, so I am crazy lucky. And since then, the churches have kind of come back a little bit, but that's definitely not my main source of income right now. So it's a little scary, trying to. I have a lot of part-time jobs at once. One of them is working for Pete, is at the audiobook company which he works for. So
nice.
It's a lot to juggle when all the jobs hit at once. Sometimes I have plenty of free time because I'm only doing one of the gigs that week, and every now and then last week I just get hammered.
Yeah.
So it's I've had plenty of time to work on creative projects in general, but then there's a week where I have literally zero time and I have nothing else to do. So it's rough being a freelancer right now, but it could be worse. And I'm doing financially okay. So that's my story.
I'm in a similar boat. Whereas most of my work was playing gigs as an orchestral percussionist. I was always driving all over the state doing that. And at the time, it was that was kind of 50% of my income, and the other 50% was teaching at a university. First of all, the teaching part of all of this was fine. We had to switch to online teaching, and I still have my job there. That's great, but I still wasn't getting paid to teach over the summer. I normally don't, and that's normally the time of year that I do rely on taking gigs and stuff like that. So for me, all those gigs being gone, that was certainly concerning. I do have to say that I was pretty surprised that because I wasn't traveling as much as I normally would, I actually ended up saving a lot of money that I normally spend because I'm traveling. So there was an element of it that actually did kind of even out, and makes me wonder in hindsight if all that traveling was ever worth it in the first place.
But, well, I think a lot of people are coming to similar realizations. Yeah. Oh man, I have to work from home. Yeah. And then 2 months later, you're like, maybe I should be working from home.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Well, so similar to Laura, I also had a lot of recording work come through that was really nice throughout the summer. I had a couple commissions actually to write music which I guess that could be a creative activity that I was involved with, and that was pretty nice. I normally don't get commissioned to do like composing and arranging that much, but
Cool.
but I'm pretty happy to have the opportunity to do it now. And I think the big change for me is I like really went gung ho into my Twitch streaming, which I had been streaming myself playing marimba as kind of a, a side thing that I would do for fun. I would do a marimba stream here and there. I'd stream us playing games and stuff like that all together. But I had never really focused on it in that like serious of a way. And then when everything stopped, I went, this is the time. I should actually probably like, be more serious about this, because at this point, this might be my only performing outlet. And I was right. It is my only performing outlet. It's the
so
only...
tune into Doug's streams, and they're all serious all the time.
Yeah, always serious. Yeah, no, I've been having a blast doing it. It's been super, super fun, and also definitely a creative outlet for me as well, because I'm constantly like, improvising, constantly making stuff up, and I have a lot of fun with that. And now the school year started again, so I'm back to absolute chaos and terror. But things will level out eventually.
It's something that I didn't think about too much, because most of my creative projects tend to be A, remote, and B, on my own time. It's a lot of, editing podcasts and, writing and that kind of stuff. But for really all of you guys, performing is a huge part of your creative outlet. And he can't be in the same room with people. That cuts it out so quickly. Yeah. So the fact that you already had that stream up.
Yeah. No, I was really lucky that I had started doing that, because it was a place that I could like, feel comfortable and, feel like I could really like be myself and perform the way that I did. I mean, yeah, sure, there aren't people in the room with me. I don't get the energy of the audience, which I always enjoy, but I get the energy of the chat instead, which is also really good.
Bobinskis, how about you guys?
I'll start, because I just started talking. I've been
that's the spirit.
I also had a fair bit of recording work, like in the 2 or 3 months after everything collapsed. Combination of like just good timing, and also like a couple people did tell me that like, they had a project on the back burner, and now that the front burner project is completely done, it's time for the back burner project, things like that. I also started live streaming regularly, because I wanted to like do a combination of like music and gaming and stuff. I found that I'm mostly just enjoying just doing gaming streams, so I've been diving into like more intense, like thoughtful games, and like my recent ones were Outer Wilds, Death Stranding, what's the Disco Elysium, Kentucky Route Zero, like all those, like some of them bordering on art games and some of them explicitly being art games.
P.S. If you haven't played Outer Wilds, do yourself a freaking favor. That game was amazing.
It was super cool.
Don't get me started. We're literally gonna have to record a separate podcast for that.
And it's been fun, like doing it and staying in touch with people and everything. But it's also been fun, like diving into those soundtracks too, and like picking out the things that I recognize and enjoy and things like that. So I had been doing that, and then like because in like the middle of the summer, my recording work, like as fruitful as it was in the beginning of all of this, like 3 months after, everything completely dried up. So like I started like lately I've just been almost cold calling people, like cold emailing people, and just like, hey, I'm an arranger, hey, I play bass, things like that. Like I try to do it respectfully and professionally and tactfully and all that, just to put myself out there and
stay on people's radars, right?
Stay on people's radars. Yeah, Mateus and I were talking about this like a week ago. So that's basically what I've been up to. And like now that we're up to snuff with DiscoCactus a little bit more, I'm taking on like the roles I used to take on, like writing the newsletter and like figuring out how to like beef up our website and things like that.
you guys both mentioned staying connected with people.
Yeah.
And that is honestly the number one reason that we started this podcast. Is
Sure.
We too had quarantine time on our hands. Brian and I are both, we run a pet sitting business together. And it turns out that when people are home, they don't want you to walk the dog anymore. It was a rude awakening. We're recession proof, we said.
Yeah.
Dang,
But,
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. I have a couple of other income sources, so I'm fine. But we realized very early on, we're like, MagFest isn't going to happen, and that's like the one time we get to see so many of our friends.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, you know what? Forget it. we need to make this happen right now. Let's start our third podcast. Because even if you see people online sometimes, you don't take the time to actually talk with them.
Mhm.
Half the time, it's just seeing updates and,
Yeah.
it's nice to be able to have human conversations with our vocal cords every
Right.
now and then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have the rest of you guys been branching your skill sets out, trying new things, or I don't know, you've been buckling down on what you already know?
Can
I was just gonna say no.
I always rely on you for the profound and helpful answers that makes my editing job smooth as butter.
Well, let me interject then.
Please
in a
do.
polite manner. Yeah, I've been trying to learn a few new skills and / like develop some skills. I mean, I feel like there's always like work you can do to get better at things. So yeah, lately I've been dabbling a little bit with producing. I've like done a few like producing tracks, like one small project with the New Haven Ballet, and then another project with Google Japan, and things like that. So also like getting better at mixing and creating sound effects.
Hey,
yeah.
I
Nice.
relate with you on that one.
Anyway, so yeah, it's fun.
What kind of sound effects and sound design stuff are you doing?
Well, the latest one I did was basically for our Choose Your Fighter video. So I did like the little effects when you change characters and when you choose them, or when you when a new player joins, things like that.
Cool. Do we have a final count on how many cuts there were in that video?
Oh, I could probably find that out. Well, I mean,
Yes, I
you
do
mean,
need
like,
this
costume
number.
changes, right?
Yeah, because there was like a UI sound for each one, right? Like bling, bling,
Yes,
bling,
exactly.
bling.
Every single frame.
Oh my gosh. I remember when we like had our videos when we were submitting them. I think I did like 50. I think Sam did like 25, and I think Doug did literally 90 costume changes.
Yeah.
We had to cut it down a smidge
Yeah.
for the timing.
Just a smidge.
So you guys, I mean, I guess you guys can't play games together too much these days, but you guys manage to like ever hop on some online Overcooked here and there?
Oh, do we ever?
We have
Mario
been-
Kart.
Often.
Yeah, we make a point to do it every week.
Yeah, we usually do
Oh,
Friday and
nice.
Saturday
Yeah.
nights. We were like, we started it in like the spring. We did like a couple in a row, and then we kind of fell off for a few months, and then we like have hardcore been like committing to like DiscoCactus night, where we
Cool.
we
That's
played.
fantastic.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
played Jackbox for like a month, and then we tried Rocket League, which is like now Sam and Pete are the members of a clan called Bulk Evander Huge.
And we
Oh, it's
play-
the
and we
name
play
changed.
Vans.
Max changed the name to
Is it big,
it's
thick, large, huge?
no, it's like it's now something like
Buff
Big-
Hardback.
big. It's not one of the names from Mystery Science Theater. It's related. It's something like big brick of hulking meat or something.
Oh my God.
That was not my college nickname.
Wow.
All right, as much as I like to talk about video games with you guys, I am here for a serious interview, so we're going to move on to that portion. You guys checked out that Paper Mario soundtrack?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh, have we?
Ooh.
The answer is yes. I don't know why everybody's being so weird about this.
You have no idea.
We have been breathing, and living the Paper Mario soundtrack.
Yeah, it's so good.
I like I put it on like so we played Paper Mario on stream. And we will play it again after we finish this call. But we played it the first night. I remember thinking like, dang, this is a really fun battle theme. And then I like looked up the music on YouTube to like clean, like, you know, do chores or something like that. And I put it on my phone. And like, I just, you know, when you're playing the game, you can't really like pay as much attention to like just how like well constructed the music is. Like you're a little
And then
distracted
7
by
hours later.
yeah. And then like, oh my god, I physically could not stop dancing. And then like after a few weeks of dancing around to it, I sent it to Ben. I sent like one of the tracks to Ben, and I was like, dude, this is like the greatest soundtrack I've ever heard in my life. And then he like 3 hours later he said, I'm making dinner and I can't stop dancing.
Yeah.
I was like, me too.
It's a danger.
Yeah.
It's dangerous to your
So
health.
danceable.
And here's the wild thing about it. I got curious. I went back through a list of all Nintendo titles from the past 10 years. And I can't find one for me that tops Paper Mario
Wow.
the Origami King.
Yeah,
Like,
I hear that.
that's wild. And the crazy thing about it is, this is like, if you compile all this music together, it's almost 8 solid hours.
Oh
of
yeah,
music.
it's huge. They like we've been talking about this. I feel like they maybe put in a little too much effort into this
I know.
soundtrack.
I-
Like they
Except
have
we were playing it like we were on the 4th world, and we're like, oh, they're gonna do a sub spin-off song for the battle music.
yeah.
Oh, and they're gonna use live saxophone for it. Interesting. And Brian just turns to me and he says, I kind of wish they saved some for other games.
Yeah, they just
Dude,
went
it's
all
like-
in on this one.
there's like that whole sequence with the stage play in Shogun Studios. And all of that music for like the ballet sequences, you hear it like for like 30 seconds and they put together the most electric burning jazz tracks
Yeah.
I think I've heard in any game, with like ludicrously difficult solos that you don't even hear because you don't even get up to that part in the song. And it's like,
Yeah.
dang, dude, do you think maybe you hit a little too hard, Mario?
one of the first places
What
that
are you guys trying to prove?
one of the first places you get to in the game is Toad Town, when Toad Town is totally abandoned. And
Yes.
you go there and you hear this just incredibly lush, tragic, like post-impressionist score unfold. This doesn't sound like a fun little, like, where'd the toads go sort of thing. It sounds like they're dead.
Yeah.
Like, actually dead.
And they've been dead
I
for
mean-
a long time.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Definitely not to spoil anything about the game, but I will just hint at this. It does not shy away from the themes and topic of death.
oh my
Yeah.
god, dude, we just got up to that part.
We got
With a
up,
capital
we got up
P.
to a
boy.
potential
And there's more of it. There's
hinting.
more.
We just approached a part that maybe touches on the theme of extreme loss, and like I don't know, man. This game like is all over the place, but oh my god, have you played a funnier Nintendo game? Like we are laughing every 3 seconds every
I
time you find
know.
a toad.
pretty
It's
funny.
hysterical.
It's worth hunting down those little toads, because
Yeah.
as someone who's done a lot of writing in my past, I'm just applauding them. Like, you guys wrote what, 1,000 jokes?
Yeah.
Little jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And most of them are quite funny and likable. It's It's
I like
a beautiful thing.
I think my favorite toad so far is the one you find on the telescope. Like you try to look through it, and it's just a
Yes.
toad.
It's
Like
just
I
face.
said, like right before you looked through, I was like, "There's gonna be a toad," and it was like even more toad than I
Yeah.
could have possibly imagined.
Yeah. I like how how the game basically it reads my mind a lot of the
Yeah.
time. So it's
Yeah.
like so I finish the game and then I go back because I have this problem of completing everything. And then like one of the first toads that I get from when I went back in the beginning, he like just comes out and says, "Thank you for being a completionist." I mean, I still
Bravo.
didn't get all of them, but it was like one of the first ones I got, like coming back, and I was
Yeah.
just like, "How did they know?"
Not-
No.
Not to relive every single toad joke, but I also liked, "You found me on the back of that sign, and now you know this sign's terms and conditions." And he
Yeah.
just runs
Yes.
away.
Yep.
I remember that, yeah. I'm still working my way through the game. Like I'm only like a couple of hours in or so. But like
Shame.
I was so oh yeah. How dare you? I was so struck by like it just right off the bat, the themes are like really heavy and dark and like
Mhm.
really extreme with the whole like folding and taking over everything. But then
Yeah.
also like
a huge horror element that runs through the game.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
totally, yeah. And then there's that little moment where you're passing through like the little like campsite outside or whatever, and there's a giant pile of like logs somewhere, and you talk to it,
Mhm.
and all of the eyes light up on the logs, and just like we're so excited to get burnt and
Yes.
like turn into fire.
We
I'm
must
like,
burn.
whoa, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay.
I don't remember that.
No, I
You
did,
do
yeah,
you.
I remember trying to
Yes.
figure out how to light them on fire.
Oh my god.
I was gonna say like the other thing, like again, I'm not super far into the game, but the thing I find really interesting about the soundtrack is that like unlike a lot of other just game soundtracks in general, there's so much like joy and passion that's been like poured into every second. Like every little thing, the mixing of it, like I can't even like pin it into a genre or anything like that. It's not like
Yeah.
it's not like you listen to the music from like I don't know like The Witcher or like a Warcraft game or something. And it's got that kind of like mellow, darkish orchestral tone. You're kind of like cool, but then like the Paper Mario soundtrack, it's just so vibrant and joyful and passionate, and just its own. I'm speaking very vaguely right now, and I know it's not helpful, but
No,
like,
no. I actually think you're hitting the nail on the head, Ben. Like it's just
Okay.
pure
Mhm.
joy.
yeah,
And that's actually exactly what I was going to ask you guys, because I listened to the soundtrack and it's so far beyond my musical understanding that I'm just like, I'm just soaking it all in. I just love it. But from musicians, how do you guys feel about encountering like this wild surprise? And like, is it intimidating, inspiring?
I think no, like above anything else, all I think of as a musician is, oh my god, I want to play this soundtrack. Like
Yeah.
I want to be at
Yep.
the session. I
Yeah.
want to be one of the players doing that.
Oh man,
It's
yeah.
like like
Mhm.
such a privilege to get to play music that is that good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know about you guys, but like just the saxophone soloist and like the Red Streamer theme,
Mm.
he sounds like he is having the time of his life. And like I know he's being
Mhm.
paid to sound that way, but like you feel like those musicians are just having an absolute ball. And maybe I'm actually like interpolating some of that from the videos of the Mario Kart 8 soundtrack.
yeah.
Like they have some
Yeah.
videos up on YouTube of the sessions, and like that bassist, it's gotta be the same guy on this soundtrack. He is just absolutely playing the crap out of that instrument and having like he's just
Yeah.
grinning and bouncing and like just tapping his feet, and he just looks like he's having so much fun. And like I feel like the sessions for this must have been like the happiest thing ever. Maybe that's what we're feeling as musicians, and maybe like honestly maybe we're super
Mhm.
tapped into those feelings because we're feeling so like put down by everything that's going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
But I will say that every now and then I like like the Toad Town theme. We like when you get to Picnic Road, and that it's like this really happy, bouncy music in the background, but it's like really dense, like orchestrationally, and we all like kind of looked at each other and we were like, I think this music hits a little bit too
Yeah.
hard for Picnic Road.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, going back to the idea that you just mentioned about like them just like, throwing all the paint on the wall, going completely all out with like
Yeah.
this soundtrack. I think for me, hearing this just it not only is it made with a lot of joy, but it also just fills me with a lot of like joy and giddiness and like happiness when I hear something
Mhm.
that's just that like completely unfiltered and like there's nothing
It's
holding them
very
back.
sincere.
Yeah, definitely. And it makes me just desire more of that. Like it's so crazy and it's out there. It's not confined by like by genre or anything else like that. And I look at this and I'm just like, this is so amazing. Can we just do this all the time? Like
Yeah.
like I would love to see that kind of just like extreme unfiltered like, passion being written for games like all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that like this giant kind of mainstream Mickey Mouse-esque, icon of Mario has branched off into so many different directions that just this one game alone probably fit about, half a dozen, maybe a dozen genres just within itself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that they were allowed to experiment so much. Like, I think it's pretty fair to say that, like, in some ways, the score is experimental
Yeah.
in some
Yeah.
surprising
Absolutely.
ways.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And it's interesting that that's coming from like you said, from Nintendo, one of the biggest, like
Mm-hmm.
corporate AAA like whatever companies. Whereas like most of the time you only see that type of like, at least in the score, in like the soundtrack, you just see that in experimentation mostly happening in the indie scene.
You know, it's funny. Like, I was just thinking, I played the first Paper Mario when I was in high school. My buddy Jeff, it's his favorite game. And the music for that was also, like, at least in my opinion, similarly, like, incredible. Like, considering, like, what this N64 sound chip and all that. But the music was very different from most Mario games. And I would describe it as being, like, just this, like, really silly, funny, like, soundtrack, but also, like, super, super detailed. Like, the music was great. It was some of my favorite that I've ever arranged. I got to arrange it for a wind ensemble one time, and like when I was transcribing it, I was like, man, there's a lot of detail to this music. So I feel like Paper Mario has that. Maybe not with every game, because I've heard not great things about some of the games, but maybe that, like, I don't know, a branch of Nintendo has always been like a place where people feel like they can mess around and try new ideas and stuff.
Yeah, and I think, like, honestly, I think the music has always been pretty killer in the
Yeah.
in the Mario
Absolutely.
RPGs. I think this one just takes the whole cake, the whole entire thing.
And throws it at the wall with the paint.
Okay, I'm gonna do that thing that hosts sometimes do when they realize they're nearing the end of a show and pivot dramatically to another topic, because I super want you guys to talk a little bit about Letterbound.
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Ben is saying that like, oh yeah,
Ben
that
wakes
thing
up.
I did.
That thing.
Yeah, that little thing. So I don't know who feels most qualified to start talking.
I
about
think
this?
Ben is most qualified.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I guess for people listening who don't know, I'm currently scoring the soundtrack for the game Letterbound, which is being developed by this developer in Seattle named Rusty McClellan. And actually, like right after MagFest, this past MagFest in January of 2020, our friend Will Roger, who amazing composer, composed the soundtracks for Call of Duty World War II and Mortal Kombat 11 and Anew the Distant Light, which I think is still being developed at the moment. He put me in touch with Rusty because Rusty was looking for somebody to score his game. And so we hit it off, and Rusty wanted the music actually to be recorded by DiscoCactus. So I was just like, oh yeah, this would be great. So and then like the pandemic hit, so everything got like everything in the world, everything got sort of delayed and stretched out a little bit. But we were still able to like write the music. I got everybody here to record. I also brought in some friends of ours to record on the music too. So we got Carlos Aini, or also known as Insane in the Rain.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, our friend Daniel Romberger of the Game Brass, and Oh yeah, Max Boyko to play trumpet with us. He played with us during our DiscoCactus show at MacFest as well.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So yeah, and so we put it all together, and that was a really fun experience. Also, for people who don't know, Letterbound is the best way to summarize it. It's basically like Overcooked, but with Scrabble letters. So you're controlling little avatars on screen and trying, instead of like pulling items of food out in a kitchen to combine them into dishes, you're pulling letter tiles out of boxes and combining them into words with other people. So it's extremely chaotic and hilarious.
Yeah. Wait. Okay, wait. Everyone has to be quiet for a second. What do you get when you cross Overcooked with Letterbound?
Overbound.
You get word salad.
Hey!
See, I should be
Sorry.
writing those Toad jokes.
Yeah. They should hire me.
This is my interview.
I took it literally. I was like, overbound.
Yeah.
Lettercooked.
Like,
All right. I apologize for interrupting.
No,
You
you're
can
fine.
continue. Please do.
Incidentally,
Cooked letters.
I don't know anybody more qualified to write Toad jokes than Mr. Stephen Kelly. I think.
Wait, I just thought of another one. Alphabet soup.
All right, we're co-writers, man. We're gonna make this happen.
You're already twins. Didn't we determine that they have the same smile?
That's right.
Oh,
really?
yeah.
Yeah, it's Steven and there's a picture somewhere of a MagFest. They have the like exact same smile.
Yeah. You'll have to
I
if
need
you
to
have
see
episode art. If you have episode art for the show, it should be either that or the screenshot that Mateus posted of all of the cuts from the video.
I'm pretty sure we can squeeze those into the show notes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What are we talking about?
Letterbound.
Letterbound.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Letters.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So we got everybody together to record everything remotely, which worked out really well. Pete actually helped mix the whole thing, or like mixed all the tracks that are currently in the build of the game. And when I was writing it, Rusty was actually like, before I say this, I have to do a little bit of background. So like my like background in training as a composer is mostly from like music conservatories and like the classical sphere. And so in those spheres, which I'm actually still technically in at the moment, like I'm pursuing a doctorate of musical arts at the Yale School of Music, and I'm supposed to have my final oral exam like in 2 months, and then I'll actually be donezo. But like in those circles, for better or for worse, a lot of the music that composers write is extremely serious. And it's not always, and it varies in, experimental tendencies and stuff. And like not all of it is all atonal. Some of it is, some of it isn't, but so much of it is just about like serious things and poetry that people have read. And I was never that. I was always like, I'm going to do disco, and then my colleagues and my professors would look at me like, what? So I was always this person who always stood out, and people would always say like, oh, they're just like, oh, you're so bold for doing this silly music on this concert stage. And I'm always just like, really? I'm just having fun. I don't know. So then I meet Rusty and I start sketching things for him and I give them to him and he's just like, yeah, this is cool. Can you make it more zany? And I'm just like, you're the first person who's ever asked me to do that before. Like the first person who's always wanted to be like, I was just like, you mean I could be crazier? This is great.
And you want me to?
Yeah. You want me to be silly? Oh my God. So it was a lot of fun. So like a lot of the music is very like
Madcap.
Yeah, Madcap jazz big band sort of inspired. So at the moment there's only I think like 4-ish or 5 tracks in the build, and I'm working on more stuff for it at the moment too.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear more of that stuff. I've seen the trailer, of course, and it's just 100% fun. So I think goal accomplished.
There's a demo out now on letterbound.io for I think it's Windows only, but for all y'all out there with Windows, check it out.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I will have to check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think especially because Letterbound is so it's such a joyful, chaotic experience to play it. Like I remember the first time I played it was with my at the time fiance, now wife, We were playing it while Rusty was watching on stream, and I was just like, "Oh my God, this is incredible! I can't wait to do this with 3 other people in a room together and just
Yeah.
immerse myself in the screaming that will inevitably happen."
Yes.
So yeah, that's why a lot of the music is again, it's very fast paced, it's very active, it's very sort of kooky and silly. I think one thing that we're working on, which I think the rest of you guys know because Rusty mentioned this, when you guys streamed it on Twitch, like I think about a month ago or a month and a half ago, where like for some of the more challenge levels or something, there's going to be like each character avatar on screen is going to be tied to a different instrument in the band, and so when that character is
Oh.
winning, then that instrumental line will come up in the mix a little bit higher,
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
sort of
So
like
if
weaving the gameplay in with the soundtrack.
now the rest of you guys are various amounts of you playing different instruments for this soundtrack?
Yep.
So are you only going to exclusively pick your instrument to be
Yes.
your player character?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure.
Ben, it's funny that you mentioned getting together with your friends to play this game, like actually in the same room. Rusty had the 3 of us, me, Doug, and Laura, playtest the game and
Yeah.
record some footage for a trailer for like 1 or 2 conventions, or for like a showcase or something, like a conference. And yeah, we were like screaming the whole time. You wouldn't be able to tell from our game footage, but yeah,
The game footage just looks like we don't know how to play the game.
Yeah, if Overcooked is any barometer for the situation, that's the one to break out when you're making new friends, because quickly all small talk disappears. You get down to the real business, and you find out what you're made out of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they hate you, and you hate them.
Get out of
and
my
that's
way.
What your relationship is now.
Wash the dishes.
I think we've kept you guys here long enough, and I think we've all learned a little bit about each other and about ourselves. So I'm going to count that as a rousing success. Thank you, each and every DiscoCactus member, every cacti in the room, for coming here and talking for a little bit. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having
Thanks
us.
for having us.
Absolutely,
This is
yeah.
Thank you
great.
so much.
It's our pleasure.
So I think what would be really useful if you could all just say goodbye at the same time. I think that would be really effective.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, it's so sonically unpleasant.